Folk Project Television, and I'm your host, Joe Guzzo. I'm dedicating this week's show to 3 of the many women who make folk music resonate throughout the world. Now, each one of these women hails from a different part of the world. However, they all bring that sound of folk music together, regardless of where they live. The 3 women are Penelope Swales, Antje Duvekot, and Zoe Mulford. And they performed on the Horses Sing None of It show some number of years ago. And I've collected some of their songs from those shows for you to hear today. So stick around for some beautiful music. Now, it's been 5 long months since my wife and I went into self-isolation. We don't mind. We get to listen to some great music and spend time together without interruptions. In addition, we're also working on this show. And I've been doing some collaboration with the Hunterdon County senior community. Some of us within that community are working on a showcase of music to share with our fellow seniors. It's challenging to do this as a virtual concert, as you might imagine. The talents and abilities of each person can vary greatly within that group. And the one common thread that we all have in common is that we love to share our music with others. So we are working toward building a concert and probably going to broadcast it in mid-November. I hope we have given ourselves enough time to create something worth sharing with all of them, with all of our older community members. Now, I may get to share that concert with you once we get closer to it, so I may have a URL for you down the road. But you're here to listen to some music today, so let's get to it. My first featured artist is Penelope Swales, and she's been sharing stories of the human condition for over 30 years. She isn't afraid of poking at the institutions that control what we see or hear. And in 2019, she won the All-Star Hewlett Songs for Social Justice Award with her song, Cambridge Analytica. If you get a chance, listen to it. Now, she's toured throughout the world and calls Australia her home. She runs workshops in circle singing and songwriting. And as a social artist, she's released 10 albums, and she's working on her 11th. In fact, it might be done by now. And she also has 5 albums with the band Totally Gorgeous, and that's spelled G-O-U-R-D, Gord, Gis, G-E-O-U-S. I like that spelling. Now, let's listen to her music.
Time, maybe that time is always now, where you have to follow your own heart and your own path and just stop worrying about how it's gonna look to the people around. Cause if you know what you need to do. It doesn't matter 2 cents if it doesn't make sense to the majority of the people around you. Cause I know that I'm serious, I've gotta learn to walk the walk. Most of my life I've had it easy, I've had my fun, I've laid down the law. It's all very well to strut your theories, but in the end you gotta get on that horse. Like anyone else, I have my fears. It's like anyone else, I tumble off, but I'm getting back on. Where most people, even brave ones, will turn back. And anyone you meet out past that point deserves your respect for just being on the track. There's a frontier that you won't find on any chart. Now the dragon's drawn their writhe and spawn, the domestic cartographer's nervous heart. But I know that if I'm serious, I've got to learn to walk the walk. Most of my life I've had it easy, I've had my fun, I've laid down the law. It's all very just like anyone else. I'd stumble off, but I'm getting back on. 'Cause there is a place beyond the badlands and the wilderness of doubt, a high point where you can look back on your journey, shake your head and wonder how you made it through. The point is you made it through. And stand or fall or win or lose, there's none that can take that away from you. And if you think I'm intrepid, well, I can only say that I do my best. I've had my failures, I've had successes, I've hurled my curses, but I've been blessed. In the end, if you want an adventure, you can take the risk and accept the cost. 'Cause if you're gonna head into unknown territory, you might get found or you might be lost, but you're taking the chance. When you're lying there on your deathbed, well, this is the question that's waiting for you. Do you regret more the things you did or the things that you didn't do? But I know that if I'm serious, I've gotta learn to walk the walk. Most of my life I've had it so easy, I've had my fun, I've laid down the law. It's all very well to strut your theories, but in the end you gotta get on that horse. And anyone else might think I'm delirious, and anyone else might think I'm wrong, but I'm getting back on, I'm getting back on. When someone has died, they are so suddenly and completely gone, while everything that they have left behind is so pressingly and overwhelmingly there. What can be sadder, stranger, or more poignant than the rooms in which someone has lived? What can be harder, more arrogant, or more necessary than to clean those rooms out to make way for other lives? You have to say to the memories, you cannot take up this much space. You're no longer entitled to take up so much space when I've lived with a grief that takes up so much space. And everything that we deem irrelevant will be discarded, and everything that we deem valuable will be divided amongst us. And your presence will be swept from these rooms. They will stand empty and bare, and some other person who is, after all, only temporarily alive will come and fill them with their own treasures and their own trifles. People like to have things to remember each other by it, looking at these sad, sweet, cluttered, empty rooms. I wish to leave nothing behind me when I die, so that secrets big and small may not fall into the hands of those who would not, could not, ever interpret them right. And for the first time I understand the privacy of the dead. Why is it in old age that we destroy what might be seen as precious mementos? Burning letters, tearing up poems, throwing out journals, discarding photos. It's because we become aware that people related or unrelated who bear us love or indifference or even hatred will come to own everything that we own. And there's not the slightest chance that they will discover the truth, because the truth is rendered in younger colours. So do we fear revelation more, or misinterpretation more? As survivors we regret how little we know, how little we find, how little we leave behind. How little we leave behind. Farewell, Margaret, Godspeed, yeah, whatever that means. Farewell, Margaret. A turn of the century child became a millennial grandmother, almost a great-grandmother. How did this happen, she might have cried. Time flies as we get older. A day is like an eternity to a toddler, but in old age it all slows down again. Too long, these last few painful years, each one so much the harder. The isolation of our failing years, the frustration of a world growing smaller. And how hard to go from strength and capability to that, so small and frail in her small flat, like a withered leaf pressed between the pages of a book, waiting patiently for company, unable even to make them a cup of tea. From once she had laughed, danced, cooked meals, born children, suffered, loved, fought. Farewell, Margaret, Godspeed, yeah, whatever that means. Farewell, Margaret. Never live to be 98, she told me when I first met her. It's not worth it. Never was. Old age is such a fetter. How are you, Granny? We lean and shout. A whole long, slow year later. Getting a little old now, dear, she said, with her characteristic humour. I didn't get to hear your thoughts on turning 100 because you could no longer speak, but I think I know what it is you would have said to me. 100 years, you would have said. I must be a lunatic. Shaking your head. Farewell, Margaret, Godspeed, yeah, whatever that means. 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 Farewell,
What can I tell you about Antje Duvekot? Other than she's fantastic. Originally from Heidelberg, Germany, she now lives and works from her home in Somerville, Massachusetts. In the year 2000, she won the prestigious John Lennon Songwriting Competition as well as other awards. Listening to her sing, you wouldn't know that she wasn't born in America. And it just proves that where you're born is less important than how you show yourself to the world. Here's Antje.
We bid our friends goodbye. We promised we would write them and headed north of 95. Into the great unknown, we turned up our stereo and I felt so reckless and alive. We didn't know who we would be. We didn't know where we would end up when we headed down that road. A little food and our guitars in the backseat and that old cello, the one that would get stolen in a town in Idaho. And it's a long way to Michigan and back, and it's a long way. Yes, it's a long way, the clouds upon our backs, and it's a long, 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 long way. And I have never seen reflections of the cleanest of blue as in Minnesota lakes. Those were the longest nights of wood smoke and northern lights as we talked until the morning came. The light of glowing embers, as sweet as I remember, among the rustling of the trees. The legend of the harvest moon and sweet ballad of the loon, I felt as ancient as I was meant to be. And it's a long way to Tennessee and back, and it's a long way. Yes, it's a long way, the clouds upon our backs, and it's a long, 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 long way. Called you from a payphone in windy, cold Missoula, and then from Midland in the rain. No place as proud and sad, the South Dakota Badlands, that touched me more than I could explain. The dirt poor reservation where the Oglala Nation tries to hang on to its ways. The feather and peyote pipe, a six-pack of Miller Lite, sits on the dashboard of a beat-up Chevrolet. And it's a long way to Michigan and back, and it's a long way. Yes, it's a long way, the clouds upon our backs, and it's a long, 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 long way. Well, out in California, we touched the other ocean, and I still have that jar of sand. In the Arizona desert, the sky goes on forever. You've never seen a thing as grand. North Montana was cold. She keeps her secrets frozen under glaciers way up north. And people have got lost up there in the home of the grizzly bear, and you can ask the mountain, but the mountain doesn't care. And it's a long way to Delaware and back, and it's a long way. Yes, it's a long way, the clouds upon our backs, and it's a long, 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 long way. It's a long way on the worn out heels of Kerouac. It's a long, 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 long way. Thank you. I was born and raised in the South, in a suicide town. Well, I was only 15 when it burned to the ground. I tore up all my memories by the side of the road with the tip of a needle. I carved my story in stone. When you gonna come for me, Lord? When you gonna come for me? 'Cause I've been expecting you forever, waiting here for you. Will you send a little grace? It's least that you could do. It's least that you could do. Was not much of a poet, 'cause I was missing the English. I'm not a very good lover, could never capture the language. I was an adequate painter, but it just left me tired. And did a stint as a hitman. In those days, at least I was inspired over. When you gonna come for me, Lord? When you gonna come for me? 'Cause I've been expecting you forever, waiting here for you. Will you send a little grace? It's least that you could do. It's least that you could do. I'm never gonna be one of God's favorites. I'm never gonna cheer with the angels. Tried to find a church that I could walk in. They tried to nail me on original sin. Yeah. When you gonna come for me, Lord? When you gonna come for me? 'Cause I've been expecting you forever, waiting here for you. Will you send a little grace? It's least that you could do. It's least that you could do. Up ahead down in the churchyard, I took a walk down Big Dream Boulevard. With all the sand that gets inside this world, I think by now we should all be pearls. And when you gonna come for me, Lord? When you gonna come for? I've been expecting you forever, waiting here for you. Will you send a little grace? Least that you could do. It's least that you could do. Least that you could do. That was very nice.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you. We have a studio audience here, and hopefully they'll go crazy. There's like millions of people here. This is called a merry-go-round. Someone is tossing paddles in the stream somewhere. Someone is standing at the foothills of their dreams, and someone got a paintbrush, is painting over doubt. Someone opened up his eyes and saw the sun coming out. Someone was captive and found the courage to get off, throw a boulder in the well somewhere the rain has stopped. Someone is finding a place where they belong. Hey, hey! Well, every day is summer somewhere in the world, and the summer boys are headed for the falls to kiss the girls with their impatient hands, groping honey, breasts, and curls. They are filled with desire. And high in the hills, there's a baby being born. There's forgiveness and peace wash over bruises and floors. People bridging the distance over nettles and thorns. Everyone aboard on a merry-go-round. Some things will rise up so that others come down. If the devil don't dance, heaven won't shine. It's a mighty thick haze, and it's a pretty thin line. If the faucet is tightened up, the love won't flow. If the love isn't bright enough, the corn won't grow. If the night isn't dark enough, the moon won't glow. Rich man counting money, tired man counting sheep, while the saved man counts his blessings. The hungry man his beans. There's a million people praying, raising up their eyes to what turns out to be the same God, the same sky, and we are slightly scared of death, a little bit afraid, so we celebrate everything we can think to celebrate. We shall sing out loud to keep the hounds away. Everyone aboard on a merry-go-round. Some things will rise up so that others come down. If the devil don't dance, heaven won't shine. It's a mighty thick haze, and it's a pretty thin line. If the faucet is tightened up, the love won't flow. If the love isn't bright enough, the corn won't grow. If the night isn't dark enough, the moon won't glow. Well, prisons will crumble and governments will fall. It's the order of freedom to be preceded by walls, 'cause the truth would be worthless if no one ever lied. So we carry our shame in the interest of pride, and we have all these questions to make us go roam, and we got all this distance to make us come home. As the sun burns, the child learns, the tide churns, the world turns. Everyone aboard on the merry-go-round. Some things will rise up so that others come down. If the devil don't dance, heaven won't shine. It's a mighty thick haze, and it's a pretty thin line. If the faucet is tightened up, the love won't flow. If the love isn't bright enough, the corn won't grow. If the night isn't dark enough, the moon won't glow. Thank you. That's right. Instead of trying to be my own PR person, let me play you. Do you want to join me on this one?
Sure.
Because we'd already practiced it.
Okay.
In B, remember?
Yes.
Excellent. Our audience is really good. This is called The Streets of Soho. When she moved to the city, she was 20 years old. Coming from the Midwest, she had never left home. Upon the Brooklyn Bridge, she took a deep breath. Well, the boys on Water Street whistle and chime, singing, "Hey, senorita," and "My, you look fine," and baby, take a deep breath. And hey, la, living in the city that never stopped, so sweet, little baby is in for a shock, 'cause the streets of Soho ain't like Iowa. She got a job at a deli on Maple and Kent. $5 an hour can barely make rent, and she's closing up late. She struck up with an actor who waited on tables. He told her he loved her, so she let him stay, and he was gone the next day. So ain't like Iowa. Well, there's beggars and brokers and artists and millionaires, women in fur coats and strippers upstairs. There's graffiti on back walls and sleeping in alleyways. 47 floors, yeah, she's come a long way. There are lawyers and bankers and limos and taxi cabs, buses and traffic are blaring their horns. They're shouting in Spanish and hey la la la, it ain't like Iowa. And now she's living with a stripper in a one-room flat, and she wonders what her daddy would have thought about that. But she wouldn't want to go back, wouldn't want to go back to Iowa. She's locking up the deli and getting on the subway, pulls a cigarette out. It's been a long hard day, but she's feeling grown up, yeah. So take a deep breath and hey la la, living in the city that never stops. So sweet little baby is in for a shot, 'cause the streets of Soho ain't like Iowa. Hey la la, she's living in the city that never stops. So sweet little baby is in for a shot, 'cause the streets of Soho ain't like Iowa. The streets of Soho ain't like Iowa. The streets of Soho ain't like Iowa. Thank you.
Our last and third artist is Zoe Mulford. She comes from Pennsylvania originally, started performing in North Carolina, and now she lives in the north of England with her spouse. And with the pandemic closing venues and festivals throughout the world, she finds that she's staying home where she's able to work on new music and learn new ways to make her lovely noise. She has a YouTube channel, a mailing list, and keeps a tip jar from which she takes money to pay other creative people for goods and services. Now, if you have time, and we all should with the pandemic going on, search YouTube for one of her songs. The title of that song is "The President Sang Amazing Grace." For now, however, let's listen to some other songs she did and see what you think of that.
This is a song for anybody whose job has ever required them to stay up all night. Ooh, it's a working night. Turn on the radio. Midnight oil is shining bright. We've got hours to go. You and me and the night shift nurses, the clerks at the convenience store, making do and working through the longest hours of the 24. We can't sleep till we've earned our daily bread, and we live on coffee till sleep is dead. When the coffee's all gone, we will live on music. We will live on music alone. got so much to do before we see the sun. You and me and the cab dispatchers, the long-haul truckers on the road. Freight trains moan a mournful tone as they bear the heavy load. We can't sleep till we've earned our daily bread, and we live on coffee till sleep is dead. When the coffee's all gone, we will live on music. We will live on music alone. And the night construction crews, the slackers under deadline with no more time to lose. When the local stations turn to snow, we get the BBC on the radio. On the other side of the world, they're making tomorrow's news. We can't sleep till we've earned our daily bread. We live on coffee till sleep is dead. And when the coffee's all gone, we will live on music. We will live on music alone. Ooh, it's a working night. The dark is wearing thin. We all stop to catch our breath before the birds begin. You and me and the brand new parents, the crisis hotline volunteers, gaze at the sky with wondering eyes. It's another day and we're still here. Can't sleep till we've earned our daily bread, and we live on coffee till sleep is dead. When the coffee's all gone, we will live on music. We will live on music alone. Stealing hours from the night, counting down until the light, keeping watch and holding steady, cleaning up and making ready. Stealing hours from the night, counting down, counting down, counting down, counting down, until the light. If you don't recognize anybody in this song, turn off the television right now and go out and get a life. Let's talk, let's have a little talk, let's have a little heart to heart. Maybe a talk about talks about talks, if that's where it has to start. 'Cause Jane's not talking to Judy, and Judy's not talking to Paul. If things go on like this around here, won't be nobody talking at all. Now Sam's not talking to Sarah. Sarah's not talking to Zeke. I don't know who Becky's not talking to. It depends on the day of the week. And Amy made up with Eliza. Now neither one's talking to Jake. And I hear Hank was unguardedly frank and then hit reply all by mistake. Let's talk. Let's have a little talk. Let's have a little heart to heart. Maybe a talk about talks, if that's where it has to start. 'Cause Dave's not talking to Donna, and Donna's not talking to Paul. If things go on like this around here, won't be nobody talking at all. Now, nobody cares much for Carol, but she sure gets things done. And nobody's too keen on Kevin, but he's been around since day one. And Monica looked like a winner till that whole business with Mike. These people can be like a family to me, but there isn't a one that I like. Let's talk, let's have a little talk, let's have a little heart to heart. Maybe a talk about talks, if that's where it has to start. 'Cause, oh, what letter have we not done yet? 'Cause Anne's not talking to Ahmed, and Ahmed's not talking to Paul. If things go on like this around here, won't be nobody talking at all. Now Ken's not talking to Keisha. Keisha's not talking to Lee. Nobody's talking to anyone much, but they all come complaining to me. So I've started talking to strangers, 'cause it's safer than talking to friends. I'm thinking of walking and maybe not talking to anyone ever again. Let's talk, let's have a little talk, let's have a little heart to heart. Maybe a talk about talks, if that's where it has to start. 'Cause Jane's not talking to Judy, and nobody's talking to Paul. If things go on like this around here, won't be nobody talking at all. No, sir, nobody talking at all. Oh, no, nobody talking at all. I ain't got no use for the little red rocking chair. Ain't got no honey, baby, now. Ain't got no honey, baby, now. It's all I can do, and it's all I can say, and I can't make a living this way. Can't make a living this way. Who'll rock the cradle? Who'll sing my song? Who'll rock the cradle? Who'll rock the cradle when I'm gone? Who'll rock the cradle when I'm gone? Well, it's all I can do, and it's all I can say. Gonna send you to my mama. Send you to my mama next payday. Send you to my mama next payday. I ain't got no use for the little red rocking chair. Ain't got no honey, baby, now. Ain't got no honey, baby, now.
I have to tell you that ending my show every week makes me a little bit sad. I'd love to keep bringing you hours and hours of music every day. And since that isn't possible, I hope that the music I share with you on our Sunday shows brings you some joy and makes your heart and soul feel a little lighter. Now, if you haven't already done so, please click on the subscribe button. Every new subscriber brings us closer to some extra features for our channel. Now, the coronavirus is still out there, and it isn't going away anytime soon. So continue to do what you can to stay safe. Always cover your face with a mask when you go outside. Keep social distancing. And be sure to wash your hands when you're in contact with anything from the outside world. I look forward to a time when we're no longer required to be so diligent. Until then, let's be careful. And I hope you join me again. And until next week, I ask you that keep peace in your heart. Thanks for joining me today.